Oh,
Is that where you're
man.
sitting? Is that?
I don't know. I
I'm
mean,
just
we've
checking. I'm
we've
thinking-
opened up the studio a little bit here. And we've
I'm thinking
got,
sitting here in the big chair and
Ooh.
rocking, and I just didn't want to
This
be
is
too
totally-
far away from you.
this would be not conducive at all if we actually, videotaped any of this shit.
Well, if we videotaped it, we could still have chairs like this that kick out.
And sit this far apart.
Not this far apart. I mean, you could, but then
We're social distancing.
Then you're multi-cameraing it, and that sounds like a different level budget than this talent.
We don't
can
even
afford.
have one camera. Let's
That's
just jump
true.
straight to two.
All right, fuck me. Whatever. I gave up trying.
So it was a wet week.
That's what she said.
Such a wet.
It is. It just keeps raining here.
It does. It does. It's like we thought. Like the first 3 days, we're like, "Hey, these are sure to be washout days," and we still ended up working.
It helped validate at work when we collectively as a group got yelled at for not getting like meter numbers and stuff like that. For me to have literally an opportunity within like 10 minutes of that phone text yelling blah blah blah, for me to take a picture of the meter that usually the meter's below the, like for people that don't know, the meter's underground, so it's in like kind of like a little box. So sometimes those are filled with water, but it was a foot of water above.
Ben was
above that.
But
and
you
so
were clinging to that wall like Spider-Man.
I was. 'Cause there was a little ridge to walk along, and my fat ass was trying to kind of keep balanced on it. But the meter was a foot underwater, so I'm like, all right, fuck you. Click. I took a picture of it, just for argument's sake. That's the way this week's been. Everything's flooded.
You didn't need a snorkel to get that number.
Yeah, snorkel, some goggles.
Yeah, no, it's been bad. It's been real bad. I'm kind of upset that fucking tropical storm that's south of us that's responsible for pretty much all this fucking weather.
Well,
Dude, there's like a magnet in New Orleans, man. Like all these storms are just heading towards New Orleans this year.
Listen, I don't wish it to hit anybody, but I'm glad it's not hitting us.
Man,
There's no reason for that.
drive up a little bit of work there.
Well, listen, I don't need a hurricane to hit. Every time a hurricane hits here, we end up without air conditioning for a week and no power, and the roads are all fucked up. And listen, this may sound like first world problems, but
Oh no, it totally
Dude,
is first world problems.
when I can't heat when I have to take an ice cold shower,
Yeah.
and then literally 2 seconds later I'm sweating again because
If Snake Plissken
'cause
were to
it's so
have
hot in here.
if Snake Plissken were to have fucking what's the second movie?
well, definitely like interrupt me to fumble your fucking
Yeah,
words.
that was a total that was awful. That was awful. I apologize to everyone involved in that.
Jesus.
I was like I kept trying to go like what the fuck is that name? Escape from L.A. was what I was trying to
It's
say.
really like the second movie was so different from the name of the first movie.
They were almost night and day, sir.
Yeah. Night and day.
But he turned the power switch off on the U.S. at the end of the movie, and I often wonder, I'm like, man, if that had really happened, so many people would just die because they just wouldn't know what to do without AC.
Yeah.
If you couldn't like boot up the internet nowadays, children would just fall apart. Like literally, they would just fall over and just like it'd be like The Happening. They just wouldn't know what to do.
I miss the good old days without the internet. When I had to watch scrambled porn on the TV.
Is that a titty or a commercial? I don't know.
Usually you could get you would know because you would get the audio in fine. It was just the picture was a mess of scramble, and then it would every now and then you get a clear like moment of video and you'd see a naked person
or like
and that was enough to last you for whatever you needed till the next glimpse of nudity.
Or like when the internet was really really new and it took like 30 minutes to download an image. And you're just like, it's like just a little bit line by line. You're like, that's a neck.
I don't remember the images taking that long. I mean, yeah, I remember it all being slower, but
You're what is it, 12.8 megabyte or whatever.
It would just be like the download, like
megahertz.
I don't remember back then. It's been so long now.
Well, you are older, man. So
What do you mean? It's still. You and me are both of the age to remember the internet, so
Yeah.
it's just remembering back.
remember,
Are you just saying my memory's failing? I'm not remembering further back than you are for the internet.
I'm just saying, Ben, that maybe things get cloudy the further back you go.
Things are cloudy. I've been eating like shit. I got just a permanent headache lately. Dude, my back was so jacked up.
It started on Friday too.
Those painkillers. Oh, well, because listen, I don't even care. I'm just gonna fucking put things out there and let the world crumble where it may. But the job was so fucked up this week that like every other day I'm like eating my feelings and and going and just rationalizing today was such hell. I deserve this.
Look, seeing you do cheat day math is hysterical. You're like, well, I could get it all now, but if I get a little thing here, then I can do another cheat meal later. And I'm just fucking.
Yeah, we were at
we were at Quarter Deck.
And
oof.
I'm like, kind of want a few different things, but that starts to get really expensive, and it's a lot of food, so I'd be stuffed. Like I wouldn't be able to eat again later. And if I'm gonna eat bad today, I might as well eat bad today now and eat bad today later.
And did you?
Yeah, of course. Okay. But that's because I didn't also get I only got like an appetizer and like a bowl of soup, this is gonna get boring. But I got fried calamari and French onion soup, two things that.
Hey, they look delicious.
They were delicious, but what you got,
I got
looked 10 times better. And I was like, as soon as the food arrived on the table, I was full of regret.
Man, so 3 times in a row now, when we go to Quarter Deck, I've gotten this buffalo chicken sandwich. First off, this chicken,
big piece of bird,
just a huge slab of breaded chicken, and then the tots. Oh man, it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, so I'm like, if I eat light now, it's not. I'm eating out, so it's expensive anyways. Like, no reason to like make this a $40 lunch, and B, that way I could rationalize spending money later to have like Chinese food or pizza or whatever the fuck I had delivered later for dinner. But yeah, that was a big piece of bird, and I'll say that at least you get your money's worth there. We like the food's like big and boisterous. I guess is as good a word as any.
Yeah, we're looking through
but the menu, because we were looking at the menu, we're like, wow, everything's
kind of bougie ass shit here.
It's expensive and everything's got like a fan. It's like when you read the description, it's a little fancy.
On this fucking this bougie nonsense.
But they're serving like sushi and fucking.
But then you order the food, and when it arrives, you're like, all right, you win. That's probably the best buffalo chicken sandwich I've ever had.
It's like I see my whatever $14, whatever it was. Yeah. I see it on the plate, so you're like, oh, okay.
There's nothing worse than spending like $28-$30 on a meal, and afterwards you're like, oh man, I'm totally going to get more food.
Yeah, I'm hungry. This is not satisfying at all.
It's fucking nonsense. Oh, speaking of cheating, I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm getting some fucking nuggies after this fucking podcast.
I thought we were talking about your marriage.
Oh God, no! Oh Jesus, no!
I'm like, are we really going to talk about that?
No.
I'm just trying to get you some heat when you get home.
Things couldn't be better, and they'll be even better with nuggies.
Oh boy,
good old chicken, right across the street at that good old McDonald's. Oh, that Steelers Titans game. It's gonna be fun.
Oh my God,
it's gonna be good stuff.
I can't get into football when our team isn't playing.
There's plenty of good games this week, man. We're just always one of several games that I'm interested in watching.
You're rarely interested in the Dolphins, to be honest. You're always shitting on them all week.
I haven't lately. I've given them props.
No, because they've been winning. You're very fair weather with that.
No, this season was all about Tua, and how they're bringing Tua in. At least this week was like. It's like, okay, we see it. It kind of makes sense, but they kind of did the Dolphin bumblefuck where it's like, oh, well, we told the media before we told the team, and now, oh, fuck, we've got a lot of backtracking to do.
Yeah, you know what solves all that?
Winning
a couple games.
Yeah.
No one will fucking remember.
If Tua is even close to the thing we all hope and pray that he can be.
Yeah, we invested a top draft picks.
Yeah, then I think a lot of this will go to the wayside. If, however, we're looking at the next 3 games being like 1-2 or something, and that one was like some kind of fluke victory. But it's all learning curve stuff to me. He's not going to come in to be Patrick Mahomes, although that would be awesome.
He might.
That would be preferable.
He might. I think the point is nobody knows. So
Nobody knows.
well, the people that have the best idea are the ones that see
I
him
feel
every
bad
day.
for Fitzmagic.
Yeah, but
He was
I
playing
don't want to get too much into this because it's like,
It's football, man.
yeah, but I mean, like,
Oh, is that one wrestling fan losing his shit now?
No. I'm just saying, like, this is. It's not even that it's football. It's that it's football and it's Miami Dolphins.
It's regional.
It really takes the curve of interest down.
That's fair. That's fair.
Even local Floridians are like, Dolphins click. But he joined this team knowing they were looking for to have a young franchise quarterback. And then when they drafted him, he knew that eventually that guy was going to have to play.
Yeah, that writing was on the wall.
Yeah, so the timing was bad, but it's like whatever.
It's exciting because we're looking forward to something.
Yeah, but like a lot of the experts and a lot of unsympathetic former players that we were just making fun of being talking heads on these sports stations, they're all like, "Hey, he knew it. It's the business."
Yeah, they fucking. Listen, Tyrod Taylor lost his job because a doctor stuck a needle in his lung.
Yeah.
So shit happens, man. It's the NFL. It's dog eat dog. It's just, man, you feel for a guy like Fitz because he's just a fun dude to watch. But hey, man, a lot of promise coming across the.
It'll all get erased if they.
You said something about snow in Denver.
Yes, when I was flipping around. I mean, it's early. It's like 10:30. So. I doubt they're playing till 4:00, but it was snowing there.
That means that snow's.
Who knows if it'll still be snowing there? But if it's anything like here, it'll snow for 20 days in a row.
For fuck's sake, man!
Every time I look, and the worst part is I'm watching my roommate's dog, and of course it's raining all fucking weekend. So of course, like the dog doesn't want to go out.
He's a thunder buddy.
He well, not thunder, but he just doesn't like even hearing the rain out there. He's like, I don't want to go out, and then. You drag him out, and he's wet, and he just immediately takes one squirt on a tree and wants to come back inside. I'm like, nah, dude, it's been 10 hours. I don't know what you're holding, but you gotta get it out of here.
Release me.
And like it's so funny. Last night I was, I fucked up, and I just passed out on the couch, and it must have been the ghost of Jackie because I saw his wife yesterday, and she brought some stuff. Because she's moving again, because some of his autograph stuff.
Yeah.
And I brought, we put it in the house, and it's like, yeah, some of it I'll keep, and some of it I'll find homes for. But there were like 5 or 6 bats, and autographed bats.
I see him over there. Yeah, I was like,
to be honest, like they weren't taken care of properly either by him or by whoever was packing, whatever. A lot of the autographs were rubbed and. Whatever they were put together, not wrapped, and so they're. Anyway, I took what I was saying about to look at them. I just stacked them in the corner behind the front door, and at 4:00 in the morning, like all the bats fell over onto the tile area right by the front door and scared the living shit out of me. Woke me out of a dead carb coma sleep. And I swear there might have been a nugget in my pants. Woke me the fuck up, and I'm like, what the hell was that? I thought someone had broken in or something. I look up, and I the couch is right within eye shot of the door. So I look over the armrest, and I'm like, oh, it's the bats. And then I'm like, I look at the time, and it's 4 a.m. I go, oh shit, I should walk this dog. I probably should have taken him out like at 11 o'clock.
Surprised he didn't scare the shit out of Archer.
Yeah, that fucking dog. Fuck that dog. First of all, he's all friendly when someone new comes over, when he wants to meet him, whatever. But when my roommate is not here, that dog does not come out of the bedroom. He just like doesn't come out to socialize, doesn't come out to eat. Like this is day 2.5. I'm twice the food bowl's been empty, but I never saw him come out and eat it.
Yeah.
And,
He's very sneaky.
We're working off the same water though. So what's going to happen is when we're doing this podcast, if it's not a fucking monsoon out there, which it still is, I'm going to walk that dog, and then this is what I have to do after 2 days. I have to lock him out of the bedroom so that he's like in the area with me. And then eventually he'll wander over and eat and drink. But like I don't know what he's doing, some kind of Gandhi protest here where he's like sort of refusing to eat and drink. Like I unclip him when we get in the fucking door. And he just bolts for the bedroom. He doesn't even. Usually, it's like he knows you get a dog bone or something.
He's like,
he's
fuck
not
all
even
that.
interested in the not dog bone, milk bone.
Yeah.
He's not even interested in that. I had to like rattle the thing and say the T word, treat, and then he kind of looked out,
poked his head out,
and I gave him the cookie, and he bolted right back for the bedroom.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
you're such a fucking dick. Like, just wants nothing to do with me, and like, I'm nice to the dog.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So phony, just a phony. When my roommate's here, he'll come and he'll, lick my toes and come over and, acknowledge my existence. And then when I'm actually taking care of him, and he should be a little
nowhere to
fucking
be found.
Appreciative. He doesn't even
I'm the reason you're still alive. I'll be in the room.
All right. The reason you're still alive and you haven't shit yourself. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the Florida Marlins. This at the.
Yeah, he gave me like the game.
Oh, that's the inaugural game.
Inaugural game day poster. It's like artwork, and I guess it's signed by everyone.
Yeah,
that's pictured
holy
there.
shit, Charlie Huff.
And it's like a signed and numbered thing. I got the only thing I'm keeping from it. There's a art print of Dan Marino that's signed by the artist and Dan Marino, and it's like numbered.
Oh shit!
It's cool. I mean, it's Dan. Dan lives down here.
You get one of those license plates?
You could probably track Dan down and get an autograph from somewhere. That's like a full. That other one that you can see is like a full Miami Heat team poster from like 91, 92, signed by everybody. And
Jack.
She said she gave me this like signed Brett Favre thing. It's a framed like picture or print or something, kind of like a photo montage kind of thing of him. And she's like, "Yeah, he like bought this," and I'm like, "What?" Because Jackie was like the guy that went and got autographs.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So other than these the sign and number deal that I'm sure he paid for, through the Marlins officially or through the Heat, to just get a random Brett Favre autograph was very strange. I think he may have realized it was a deal or something and bought it. So I'm like, I have no interest in Brett Favre, but maybe somebody I know does.
I do fancy me some Brett Favre.
Yeah, he's such a dick, though.
I know you don't like.
He's an okay player, and listen, you could say like all you want about stats, whatever, but it took him like 5 extra years to beat Dan Marino's stats. Like Dan Marino played 5 less years to get those numbers.
Yeah.
So the stats don't mean shit to me, and they especially don't mean shit to me because he was a chucker, and he's got like almost he either has exactly the same number as touchdowns as he does interceptions in his career, or it's really fucking close. It's neck and neck. I'm like, that doesn't, that's just a guy that played a long time.
I was always a Favre.
And he only had 1 ring in all that time. It's like, granted, it's one more than Dan, but like I said, it took him 5 extra years to.
Those records, though, at this point, like, does any record even mean anything anymore?
Well, the game's changed, but I'm saying that those records held up for 20 fucking years before someone even came close to breaking them. And when they did, they had to play 5 extra years to do it.
Yeah.
So
I think the only record that
those records, that record's pretty. Whatever those were that Dan had were all really impressive.
Well, in his time.
Well, they're still kind of impressive. A lot of guys can't reach them now.
And it's funny because the game really is, it's really catered to quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom Brady.
So a guy that hasn't been in the game for 20 years plus, 25, 20.
And he's got a license plate, so.
You keep bringing that up.
Dude, it's
A reference
fantastic.
to
it's fantastic.
Like nobody knows what you're talking about. Like on the radio, the morning talk radio for the rock station or whatever, the guy The guy's had that show for 30 fucking years now.
Paul Castronovo.
Yeah, we don't have to give him any plug.
Well, listen, he's famous. He knows all these people.
He's got a pizza named after him. He I guess they had Dan Marino on Friday, and Dan Marino has some kind of license plate, and I got excited at first, like if it was like, the official plates from the state of Florida. I'd get a Dan Marino one for my next car, but it's just one you put, I guess, on the front, the unofficial ones, and it's for his
autism.
It's for his charity, which is fine, but. We were all confused when they were plugging his license plate.
Because, every quarterback from that era had an autistic kid.
That's not nice.
It's true, though.
I mean, him and... I mean, they had kids with problems. Maybe it was the karmic balance.
I think those...
For that much, talent, someone has to pay
bad
the price.
Steroids, sir.
You think so?
Probably. I don't know.
Listen,
I am totally talking out of my ass. Yeah. I have no idea.
You're not only are you armchair doctoring, but
my problem is
you're digging yourself.
My problem is I've been watching too much of this one YouTube channel. It's just two Australians, and they just sit there and just meander and talk shit back and forth on it.
Yeah, but
I'm starting to get some of their bad habits.
Never get held accountable for anything they do.
No.
Unless you're in the States and do it.
Listen,
what's his name? Russell Crowe threw a phone at someone once, and Mel Gibson has had his day in the sun with the cops a couple times.
And the Jews.
The cops, the blacks, the women.
There's not a whole lot Mel Gibson hasn't tried to fight. Yeah. I think that's the point you're trying to make. He is the road warrior, sir. Well, what would you expect otherwise?
Domestic abuse and a little bit of racism.
He's fucking that Lethal Weapon character that I can't remember. Riggs. There you go.
See, I'm such a hypocrite because, I'll say Brett Favre's a piece of shit, and
he sent a dick pic. Ooh.
No. Let's now we're into now we're gonna have to do a deep dive
with no information.
It's not about the dick pic or the fact that it was a girl that wasn't his wife, who I think it was around the time that his wife was surviving breast cancer and all that, which is ugly enough.
You're throwing heavy on Mr. Favre there.
Yeah, well, it's all facts. But also when he got into his teammate's pocket and pressured his teammate to stop negotiating to get a long-term deal for some stability and whatever, pressure the guy to come in and practice. We need you to practice and blah, blah, blah. And then the guy blows out his knee without getting that deal done and got fucked out of millions and millions of dollars. Also, Brett Favre could have someone to catch his balls in practice. That's right.
That was fucking... I forget the guy's name
too.
But yeah, but I remember that, yeah.
Fuck someone. It's you don't worry about what another man's, bank account. Don't get involved in their negotiations.
Jen Sturger.
Yeah.
She's he was with the Jets. That's right.
Yeah, because she was working for the Jets or covering the Jets or something. She's now involved with wrestling stuff. She covers wrestling.
Oh, it's got that bad for her?
AEW stuff and whatever. But
I feel sorry. I guess
she's kind of hot.
Oh no! See some of these pictures. She is or was what could be described as a #smoke show.
Listen, man, you don't want to. Let's put it down because we don't want to. We don't want to get in the habit of doing research on this thing. I'd rather talk shit and then have to.
I just wanted to know the name.
Have to apologize for it.
I apologize for nothing. Probably why I'm at where I'm at.
Yeah.
So you told me to come up. We have been. It has been brought to our attention, I guess, on a few occasions that people like to hear old wrestling stories, and
because any wrestling story worth telling is always just pure insanity, and usually involves some really good stuff.
Usually.
Oh wait, you're gonna tell us a boring one?
I don't know if it's boring. It's something that happened to me, and it's one of the few moments where there was a bunch of red flags that I didn't see because I was an idiot. I was an idiot kid. So it's not only a wrestling story; it's a con story as well. It's the second FSCW show, and the second FSCW
for
Florida Super Cosplay Wrestling, or
no, It was Florida Super Championship Wrestling.
That's right, back in those days.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Because here was the branding idea. I pitched this to Mike, and of course, it was a good idea at the time because we were only regional. Was that we had FSC, which is Florida SuperCon, so why not just put W at the end of it, so it's all the same branding. And we had to backtrack and figure out and so Florida SuperCon, we could still take Florida Super, and then we just said Championship Wrestling.
So
and then when they became a global phenomenon or whatever they decided to do, run outside of Florida, they decided that was probably not the best name for the wrestling company.
So we changed it before that, I think. I can't remember. Oh, well. It doesn't really matter.
Not when I was there.
The point is, it was the second show. It's like 2000.
Before me, right?
Yeah, it's like 2009, I think. I think it was 2009.
I don't think it was called FSCW then.
It was. It was because we had the big giant metal thing that the XP.
But I don't think they called it.
Okay, it was a long time ago, Ben. I don't really remember. I'll tell you, and you'll know why I don't remember in a second here. So it was the first one was very, very small. It lasted an hour and a half, and it involved two people that knew how to wrestle, me and Joker. Our good friend Adrian Morales, who wrestled as the Joker, and it just made sense to bring him in, and me as Cobra Commander.
So who else was on the show? Just
Benny and friends.
So not anyone that actually.
I had to train a bunch of nobodies to not die in a ring.
Okay.
I was mostly successful, simply by keeping matches really short and not allowing anyone to do anything. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, me and Benny, I just let him beat me up for a little bit. Then I beat him up, and that was that. He was Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Shaved his head for it too. Got to give the guy credit for that.
No.
So the second show rolls around, and there's a lot more wrestlers. Benny had brought in people. That's where the Devlins and a lot of those people originated from. The what's her face, Leva. That was her first show. So it was a big deal. They gave us 2 nights. We were doing this. We did all kinds of crazy shit. The stuff early on that we could never get away with much later on. We did flash paper and all kinds of other shit.
Right, you were in buildings that didn't.
No, we were at the Mac Center.
Oh yeah,
this was at the Mac.
You just didn't get anything clear.
Just nobody ever this is when Benny was still fully in charge. So I would just ask Benny, "Hey, is this okay?" And Benny's like, "Yeah, sure." And ask for forgiveness, not permission, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of crazy shit, and that was when we closed the shows. Like after us, they shut the lights off.
Right.
And the cons were much smaller. It was a lot more intimate, and the parties were crazier. And it was so very early on in the supercon lore. Anyway, so the main event
is like with Adrian and girls in the bathrooms and things like that.
Yeah, all that crazy shit. In fact, I got the crazy story after that follows this. So we'll lead up with that. So I walked in as champion, a Cobra Commander. And night 1 was a 6-man. The main event was a 6-man ladder match. I could not for the life of me tell you everyone involved. All I know.
So ladder match where you had the belt.
Yeah, we had the belt
hanging from the ceiling, and you have to use a ladder to get it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we were building up our boy Beast, who was the Geico Caveman. He was going to be the big challenger on night 2. So I was going to win the belt on the ladder match and then face him and drop the belt to him night 2 because as I kept fervently saying, Cobra Commander doesn't need a title belt. It's not necessary. I'm far and beyond ridiculous without it. And a draw to boot. So the 6-man tag match happens. And halfway through the match, we do a 6-man dive spot. 3 of us catching, 3 diving. I was in the middle, and the guy's indie name was Vendetta. Super cool dude. Still talk to him to this day. He was wrestling as Sephiroth from the Final Fantasy. This is back when all you had to do was show up in a costume. It really didn't matter what it was. This is before you and I streamlined everything and made things kind of make sense. So they did the dive spot. I was in the middle and the timing was beautiful. We We all caught at exactly the same time, fell at exactly the same time. Unfortunately, my left foot got stuck behind one of the chairs as we fell backwards, and within like 5 minutes, I had a grapefruit in my boots.
Mm-hmm.
A real high ankle sprain. It was bad. It took me like 6-7 months to fully recover from that. But that's not.
Well, because you probably did dumb shit on it.
Of course I did. Of course I did. And we don't even have to go very far because the second I hit, I know, I feel it. And I'm like, he goes to pick me up. I'm like, Vinny, no. He's like, what? I'm like, I think I fucked up my foot. Just gaga the shit out of this, you know? So he went on, someone else left me, and I actually had to loosen up my boot to kind of like relieve some pressure so I could do anything. And I'm sitting on a chair in the audience, and there's everyone around me, and they were like, yeah, let's go Cobra, let's go Cobra. And I'm like, I don't know if I can stand up. But this is still early on in my wrestling career, so I'm still like, well, you know what? This show must go on kind of thing. So I don't know how I did it. But I got back in the ring.
Probably hopped on one foot.
Yeah, I hopped in the ring, and I'm like, we need to go home.
Take it home means to wrap it up.
Yeah, so they were finishing up their spots anyway, and you should have seen my dumbass trying to climb a fucking ladder with literally one good leg, doing all the crazy spots because we had one guy, I forgot who, I think he wrestled the Spider-Man. His name was Josh Rain, and we and him were supposed to do this big ladder spot. So
Josh Rain.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a good story, Josh Rain.
So he leaps on the ladder, and he's like, ready for the spot? I'm like, Josh, my ankle's blown out. No spot. We're going home. And he's like, all right, we'll just what did he say? Oh, bang my head against the top of the ladder. So, a couple, 3 times and I'll fall. I'm like, no problem. So I go to give him the work. We're wearing fucking costumes. It's now, granted, this is only the second year. There's a couple hundred people watching. Like, already were a thing. Like, people loved the wrestling and hadn't even like been a thing yet. So I go to do it, and he just straight up headbutts the ladder, the top of the ladder, as hard as he could 3 fucking times, and then flings himself off. And I'm like, we were 15 feet in the fuck. No one knows that. Okay, give yourself a concussion. Sure, good buddy.
Yeah, what was he trying to bleed?
I don't know what he was trying to prove, or he's wearing a fucking Spider-Man mask. I don't know.
Oh, so yeah, that wouldn't.
So I'm just watching him go whap, 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 and then fall off, and I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, so I grabbed. So we had this thing. It was
it's an XP or something.
Yeah, it was the XP, and
nobody knows what that means. It's just these 2 letters.
It was
two
just
metallic
2
letters.
giant. And Benny had spared
XP.
no expense, and like it were really welded like 3D XP. The idea being, oh, you've gained the the XP. So anyway, I fall down with that fucking thing. I think it was heavy. So
that thing weighed a fucking ton.
Weighed a ton. So I fall down, and when I jump down, I forget. Oh, you blew out your ankle. So I land on both feet. You think that went well? So they carry me to the back.
This is like the hot chip challenge, where you touched the chip, but it's been enough time where you just forget. Then you rub your eye.
And you're not thinking. You're totally not thinking.
You broke your ankle or whatever,
Yeah.
and then like 5 minutes went by where you didn't do anything on it. Then you put your damn weight on it.
So they get me to the back. The first thing I do is lie down. They put my foot up, take my boot and shit off. My fucking ankle is the size of a fucking grapefruit.
People take 3 steps back. They're afraid it's contagious. Or
The
something.
first thing George does, because this is before Chelsea Roth kicked him out of Supercon forever and a day, was he walked over and he's like,
that statement doesn't even make any sense.
No, just individuals we happen to know. Anyway, so he comes over. George is a promoter of a show, of a promotion that I had spent a lot of time in. And he comes over. He goes, "What the fuck? What's wrong? He's thinking about the next ICW
He's worried about
show,
his show
and how he's gonna book around his champion. Not fine. I'm like George. Let's talk about this later.
Yeah.
And they're icing my ankle and shit, and everyone's all around me. I'm like, guys, give me some goddamn space. Like, I'm fucking, like, dude. Like, adrenaline got me through that initial shock But as I'm laying there and the adrenaline's going away, bro, I mean, it hurt. It hurt bad. So someone gave me some gimmicks, some nondescript pharmaceutical gimmicks to help with the pain.
Uh-huh.
God bless them, they did. So I'm laying there, and people, and like, they're turning off the fucking, excuse me, like turning off the lights to the convention center because it's like midnight.
Yeah.
Because these shows used to run ungodly long. And we're sitting there. I remember Broder coming up, making sure I was okay. And I was like, I'll be fine, Mike. We'll talk about tomorrow. I'll talk about Benny. And I remember everyone coming around, and things would get sparser and sparser. And then I'm lying there, and I have a fucking towel over my head because I'm just trying to do like breathing exercises as the gimmicks work their magic, and I can stop feeling the pain in my ankle. About 15 minutes goes by, and I feel better. So I go, all right, guys, we need to get me a wheelchair. Nothing. And I'm like, no, seriously, guys, I take the towel off. Fucking nobody lights her off. I am alone in a 6,000 square foot building with an ankle the size of a goddamn watermelon.
And everyone's left you.
Everyone's left me.
And turn the lights off on you.
Turn the lights off on me. One of the security guards heard me and goes, yeah, they're all gone. And I'm like, can you go get me a wheelchair? I'm still dressed as Cobra Commander, by the way. He's like, those, especially early on, like those, whoever worked security, that was a suggestion. They were just bodies that wore shirts.
Yeah, I don't know if those people were actually like a paid security firm or if they were just
it was very loose.
Volunteers.
Lo and behold, he couldn't help me. I'm like, could you at least help me get to my feet? Which he did. So, you know the layout, so you're going to get a laugh out of this. But for everybody else who doesn't know the layout of the Miami Airport Convention Center, the convention center in itself is on the furthest east of the property, and then you have like this mall, the little inside strip mall, with a little food court that ends, and the far west side of the property is the DoubleTree.
It's the convention is attached to DoubleTree Hotel, which is great, except you have to walk through a whole strip mall.
Yeah, a strip mall that
Yeah.
I don't understand if people. I never got it. I never got if people purchased stuff out of there. It was weird and high end and never made any sense to me whatsoever.
Who knows? It may be a money laundering thing.
Probably. So anyway,
because it was like there was like luggage and there was jewelry and there was all these weird
high end dresses, and it was very weird. So usually we would go through the mall to get to the hotel. Well, at a certain point that all shuts down, so we had to go outside around all the property to get to the hotel. So I didn't have a choice. Nobody else was around. I started with a chair on my knee and hobbling towards the door, but then the security guard let me that I couldn't bring the chair with me. And I kind of looked at him like, bro, like give me something here. Like, you see my fucking ankle. I'm not walking. Give me something. There's no one around. I've been abandoned. Please. Nope. Couldn't be bothered to help me out at all. So I hopped on one leg all the way around.
This is hilarious because I know how
because
how far that is.
Oh, and by the way, this is early on.
It's a convention center, a mall, and then a hotel.
It's about a mile's worth of hopping. And it was cold outside. So I just got done wrestling a fucking match not too long ago.
Cold outside.
Yeah, it was a colder day, man. It was like in the 50s out there, which for Florida is.
That's weird. Wait, so it wasn't a summer show?
No. This was in like October.
Oh,
This was because the first two. Yeah, it was October. That was October. And I remember because in November, I ended up going to Lakeland. That's when I moved to Lakeland that same year. And when I moved to Lakeland, I was still on crutches.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopped, and so there's a walkway, a covered walkway between that door and the door of the convention center, between the hotel door and the convention center door, covered walkway. It's one of those aluminum walkways, and I literally would do like 3 hops, grab the post, take a breather,
catch your breath, and then
and I did that from and as I'm doing this, because the best thing about this is before cell phones. Like we're like this is like I couldn't text anybody. Like this was still real early on and all that nonsense. Nobody was answering their phone when I called them. I was considering how many people I was going to murder with my bare hands halfway through this, because as I go, there were still hotel guests that were coming to the convention. And there were people that were still around for the rave and all that other stuff. And they're like, "Oh, bro, it's Cobra Commander!" And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Guys, hell!" I'm like, I couldn't have looked more helpless. And they were just. Oh my God! Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Just like they'd give me high fives, and I'm like, no, help me. Nobody would help me. Nobody would help me. I by myself hopped all, and then when I got to the doors of because the back of the DoubleTree there, you still have to go all the way down that hall. Mm-hmm. All the storefronts are closed, but you still have to go all the way down the hall, which is a couple hundred feet before you make that right.
Where the elevators or the entrance or
where the entrance of the actual hotel is, and then I hopped that entire. I mean, bro, I don't know how long it took because my cell phone was off at that point, and I just know like my whole right leg hurt so bad the next day. I was so glad I had a wheelchair because I don't think I could physically have stood up. I get to the front desk. And I must have looked like the most defeated human being that ever existed. Because I'm like, please help me. And like they got me in a wheelchair and the whole 9 yards. And then finally, like, I think Mike was at the bar and saw what I looked like. And he was like, what happened? And I'm like, you all left me. You all left me. Okay. That story bleeds into the next story. So the first story is when we first got there, the first night. Before this happened, there was some fans that showed up, and there was this married couple that followed me around. And
why, do he want you to fuck his wife or something?
Oh, it gets worse than that.
Oh boy.
So and they're talking like, oh well, this and that and this and that and oh, you let us know if you need anything and blah blah blah. We've got some bottles in the hotel room, and I'm thinking of like exactly that. And I'm like, oh. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh well, she's not unattractive, like like whatever. Like this is a story to have, for the kids later on. But then of course
your old man got what's
yeah, But then
might be on a video somewhere. He's not sure.
Then of course what happened. So by the time I get up my hotel room. The first Baroness is like, where have you been? I'm like, where the fuck you think I've been, bitch? I've been all by myself, and told her the whole story. And then that's when I first met Martin, and I was rooming with them, and everyone's getting a good laugh at my expense. Well, Hardy Hart jokes on them because not too soon afterwards we get a fucking knock on the door. It's the lady, not her husband, sans the husband, in tears. Martin opens the door. She runs in and runs into the fucking closet and breaks down about how her husband's been they were sucking some dude's dick.
They
together. They were sucking some dude's dick.
Oh, you could have had a double.
Oh,
a double suck.
And he got mad that she was enjoying it too much. Now, I mean, bro, when I tell you she's pilled out of her mind, like, woohoo! So not too long afterwards, we get a banging on the door, and he's screaming to be let in. And Martin's like, I'm not letting this dude in, and what can I do? And everyone's like, what do we do? What do we do? So we call for the hotel security to kind of let him know what's happening. And the guy's like, I'm so sorry. He's trying to apologize, but then he goes in a rage, and it's one of those things. So Martin kind of opens the door to kind of calm the guy down, like, dude, like, calm down. Guy burst in, takes a swing at Martin. Martin knocks him, basically knocks him out. Like he's kind of like he's out, but he's on his feet and he's like waddling backwards, but he's totally like not in existence
just
anymore.
Popped him on.
Oh yeah. And like Martin's girlfriend at the time like bull rushes the guy out of the room like a fucking linebacker. What can I do?
Okay. Right, you're sitting there just watching.
I'm just and by the way, my drugs are starting to kick in. So, oh my god, it was a whole fiasco and a fuck show. And they showed up and then like I told them the story about how those two had followed me around for like a majority of the day. They would find me in like weird places. Like I'd be on the second floor of the convention center and like, you know, right outside like a fucking panel room where nothing was really happening. Just take off the mask and chill out. And like fucking slut magic, they're right beside me. And I'm like, how the fuck?
Like had two heads pop. Peek around the curtain, go, you ready to have that dick sucked?
Yeah, pretty much, man. So to see how the like had I not fucked up my ankle, like whoever that dude was,
you could have been.
That could have been me.
The dick she was enjoying too much.
Yes. And then he got jealous of.
Yeah, but you would have just knocked the guy out.
No, we're not going down that road. Like, you know, a lot of stuff happens at these well, a lot of cool stuff used to happen at these conventions.
Right.
When they were still like the wild fucking West and shit. Nowadays, I don't even think you could have this kind of fun anymore.
Oh, you can.
But yeah, that was like a crazy fucking night. And then I remember the next day, I had to like, that was my pride. Like, I'll drop the belt to Beast, and fucking Benny and Mike are looking at me like, no, you're not getting in that ring. I somehow talked myself into the ring, and I don't remember what happened, but I did drop the belt. It was like 2 seconds. It didn't last very long. But I refused. I was like, no, I'm going to do this the right way. Of course, in retrospect, I'm like, you fucking retard. Just stay in the wheelchair and be away. Because I was getting all kinds of love from people. I mean, that next day.
I mean, if it was us running it, it would have been like where a dumbass beaver almost got his neck broken.
Yeah.
And then he came in the next night with the neck brace. You should have just come out in the wheelchair and had to relinquish the title.
I came out in the wheelchair into the ring.
Oh, and then kind of like jumped up like you were healed.
Oh my god, it was like you look at that kind of stuff in the back and you're like, that was an all around terrible. Because I was on crutches for like at least 4 months before I could really kind of start walking again. Like I remember like because Martin lived on the second floor of an apartment complex. So I had to navigate stairs every day, whilst, you know, I mean, my left leg was out of commission for quite some time, and it was just not fun. But that was the whole, yeah. So, you know, I'm fucking, literally everyone can see that I am not walking away from this, and then I was left alone in the convention center all by myself. And to this day, like, if I bring it up to somebody, they're like, oh, everyone will be like, oh, we thought such and such was taking care of you.
Right.
Like, oh, that wasn't a me thing, so I left. Because someone else said they got you. Like, nobody got me. Nobody got me at all. Yeah, that was before you started. I believe that was the the Bruce Campbell year was our first year. That was the first year. Because I remember distinctly having Lou Spector come up to me after the show and go, you know, for nobody being workers, I think you guys got something there. If you just had somebody really run it, I'll talk to Mike and see what I can do about, you know, having me step in. I was like, and I remember going right to Benny. I'm like, Benny, if Lou Spector's involved in this, I walk. Like, I told Mike that too, and that didn't end up being a problem for me really, because the 2 years I wasn't there, or the 2 years that Lou Spector did whatever nonsense he did. No, it was the one. I think it was the one.
It was the one.
And then you got the handoff with AJ.
I got the handoff with Anthony.
Yeah.
And we did it together 1 year, and then I kind of took it after that.
And then we kind of started talking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. But like I don't know why Anthony. I think Anthony's just lazy.
That and he was doing that. I don't think at that time he really understood.
Yeah, but I don't know why he just got phased out. I don't know. I don't think he knows either, or cares.
I think
just,
I certainly couldn't illuminate the situation.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Because he still did the shows with us. So I don't.
I just remember Mike going like, "I got my boy Ben running this, and he needs some help because he doesn't know all the people individually. So if you'd help him out." And I was like, "Okay, like whatever," because I just like being there. Like I was like, "This is just a cool like we get to go to a con for free."
Like I said, I think the first time I met you, I think I told you this story, was that the first time I actually met you was the year before I was involved with that. I was working for Mike at the comic book store, and I was running his little setup at the convention. So I wasn't involved with the wrestling. I was doing his booth and selling the store's setup at the convention.
Holy shit, that's right.
You had a little thing, and you were selling some of your Transformers and shit, and you were sitting across from me, and I talked to you a couple of times, like mostly from across the row.
Holy fuck!
And that's was the first time I met you, and you weren't. But I don't think you were living here at that time.
No,
yeah.
that was that booth, and that show was the Get Me Out of South Florida booth.
Right, and then you went to
Lakeland. That's when I went to Lakeland.
That was in Lakeland?
I took that money.
I thought you were in Texas or something. There's a long pause because
I can't remember.
The wheels are turning. Because I remember Broder giving you shit, and I think you came back for the show, but I don't know if you had moved here yet or something.
Yeah, I wasn't living there at that time.
And but whatever it was that I talked to you at like ICW and at Mike's office and all that later when we were doing the shows again. But when we were going to do the shows together. But the first time I met you was like the year before that. And I just remembered you from that.
That's funny because that year I had two girls that kept following me around. Mm-hmm. And at some point I'm like, how old are you two? Because they kept going like, take the mask off. And I'm like, no. Like I refused to break character around them. I refused. And they went to the shows. That was the Jim Logan year where I worked Jim Logan, which everybody who can have every bad experience they want with Jim Logan. I got nothing but a good experience with the guy because I was still experimenting with different versions of the mask. Because I still hadn't figured out how to make the mask viable for actual wrestling. At the time, like my first Cobra Commander mask was swim goggles with a fucking sheet, like, and they're sewed in. And it flopped all over the place. It was a disaster.
Where are the pictures of this?
Bro, the second one was nowhere better. By the time the Jim Logan one, I was trying to put something together, but I still hadn't realized like how good like craft foam could be to that. So like I was just all out of sorts, and he really fucking soldiered through. And match.
He's had taken a lot of heat because he takes people's money and doesn't.
Oh, he's a piece of garbage.
Doesn't deliver on making them their props. And
I know more than enough people that he fucked over because of that
props
bullshit.
Or costumes or whatever. Also, didn't he have some like issues with women or something?
Well, you know,
it was that a whole
thing? He my introduction to Jim Logan was him squirting from a super soaker vodka at women into their mouths and shit.
Was that like? Was he like an underage guy, or was he inappropriate with people?
I think he was more inappropriate.
I don't remember what the story was.
think, yeah.
Or maybe I'm conflating him with someone else and owe him an apology.
It's kind of hard because there's so many of those in that scene.
Yeah.
And you don't know who they are, and they all kind of, like, everything gets murky because, like, all the different fucking vagrants of Awful find their way into a comic book convention.
I think a lot of the male cosplayers fall into one of two categories. They're either the incel type, who can't get laid, or are asexual, or are in that subgroup, or a ducky, where they follow a girl around, and the girl takes advantage of them, and they're hoping that one day, just like in Pretty in Pink, he always hoped that she would turn around and realize the right one had been with her all along. But as we know in Pretty in Pink, that never happened. Yeah. He just fucking, he may as well just hung himself in a closet.
Well, that's a sequel.
And or they're just a fucking total predator. Whether it's like that photographer guy, or or the weird, what was his name, Leva,
George Leva.
or yeah, I'm naming names. Fuck it, I don't care. He could sue me. Or I don't know. There's always someone that's like creeping on someone, or drugging someone, or whatever. And literally, like, if you're not one of those types, you're just assumed to be one of those types.
Yeah,
because there's no logical reason otherwise. I mean, at least you were like, you did it you had the pro wrestling aspect of it. You weren't walking around conventions dressed up as someone to walk around conventions dressed up as someone. You were getting paid.
Yeah.
To wrestle.
It was my job.
Yes. So that excuses it,
yeah.
But most people didn't have it.
And I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I never got into that part of the cosplay culture because I was like, not sad enough for this. Sorry.
I've been so far removed, like I can't remember the details of people like Jim Logan or whoever, but
just like flashes of memories of like, the Raven story, like just stuff that I just remember occasionally as it pops up. That was the same year. The Raven story was the same year as all that. Because that was right before Benny went bye-bye for a couple of years.
I don't even know. Yeah, he went to jail. I don't even know what the Raven story is.
Just Scott was there, and Broder gave him a one-night deal to do something. I think he worked Beast, and he was supposed to be with Cobra.
He was like the original. He was like the first, like established, used to be a TV wrestler guy that worked on those shows, isn't he?
Yeah, okay. He was the first.
Yeah,
he was the first. I tried to get Stevie, but it just never worked out.
It seemed like maybe he didn't get it or something.
No, he really wanted to do it. Like when he found out I did Cobra Commander and stuff, he was like, bro, I'm all about that. Like set me up, and okay. I can't.
Didn't he want to be Thor or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I set him up with Mike, and for whatever reason, it just never happened.
Yeah.
And like.
It's funny because Raven, I guess he's into some of this stuff because he had comic books.
Yeah.
And like one year he was selling comic books at his table along with like selling 8x10s and taking
pictures.
That.
That's right.
And he had like a box of like old X-Men.
I'm pretty sure that was the same year.
And I'm like flipping through it and I'm like, oh, this is, I didn't realize you were into this shit. So what was the Raven story?
Well, just that. Afterwards, he goes, "Where's the party?" That's the "Where's the party at?" story, and I'm like, "Oh, we all go to the pool after this, and hang out and stuff and like that." And I guess he thought it was going to be like
an orgy,
like a fucking workers' party at the end of an ECW show. I'm like, "Nay, this is South Florida. None of these boys know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Most of them are soft shells, and like it was fun, but
he was picturing like one big suite." Where there were 20 guys banging 20 girls.
Yeah,
I'll make eye contact.
And he just sat there, didn't do anything,
snorting off the same pile of coke. And yeah.
Well, it was fun, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. And I'm just like, what? Because I told everybody, I'm like, yo, guys, like, Raven's coming down, so let's have a good time and show him a good time. And he just sat there all alone and he left. I was like, all right, well, that goes on par with you being a weird dude.
Well, someone maybe should have gone over and struck up a conversation.
Well, we tried.
Oh, okay.
Like, I came over, like, when he first walked up, and I was like, hey, and I offered some alcohol. He said he didn't drink.
What?
And,
He doesn't drink?
At the time?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what he was into.
I think he was like, that was a sobriety moment for him.
He may still be sober, but
I
mean, I know those guys back in the original day. None of those guys.
He drank all the drinks.
I mean,
probably. I don't know.
I assume so. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe he was never one of those guys.
I don't know. He's the one that I heard the rumor. I should have asked him one of the times I was around him that like there was a rumor that because he worked WWF and WCW and ECW, so he made money everywhere. And there was a rumor that in his home in Atlanta, he had a whole Waffle House set up in there.
That's fantastic.
Like the whole kitchen. Like
I want that to be true.
Like the bar,
the
bench seats at the bar,
the homeless cook.
But everything behind the counter, the the skillets, the waffle turners.
Did he just buy a Waffle House and put it in his house?
I mean, I guess he just contacted Waffle House and asked if he could buy all that stuff, and maybe being a pseudo celebrity,
He could just make waffles all day.
could make both the peanut butter chip ones, the plains, or the pecan ones.
I'm not gonna lie, Ben. If I knew it wouldn't kill me, I'd almost want to go to Waffle House now.
Just from mentioning it this once.
For some reason, now I'm
Well,
like, I'm like, I gotta go to Publix and get waffles.
Here's the problem. I'm down to go to Waffle House anytime, anywhere, any place, any date, whatever. And when it's not raining, it's almost within walking distance from where we live. But it's Sunday and it's noon. So there's no fucking way I'm going to Waffle House because it's an hour wait. Everyone coming back from church. Everyone, all those weekend places, all the weekend breakfast places, IHOP, Denny's, Waffle House, all those types, even like the Cracker Barrels, like on the weekends, because everyone during the week it's not a special place to go for a family breakfast, but on the weekends it's like everyone decides they've got to go to these places.
Ever tell you about the last time I went to Waffle House?
Well, I know about the last time you were. Wait, which one was the Endgate story?
Endgate.
What N-word gate?
That was Denny's.
Oh, okay,
that was Denny's.
I thought that might have been the last time you were ever at a Denny's.
No,
they might have your photos there.
No, but close. That's at least in the top 5.
Have we told that story?
No, we haven't.
Are we waiting for someone to not?
We might have to.
Listen. That's a good story.
Oh,
that's a story.
That's a rough story. I mean, there's a lot to like the dog track with the eye patch.
Well, we kind of told some of that when we were with Drew.
Yeah.
The N-word story, the N-word gate Denny's story.
I'll tell you what. If there's enough interest, I will spend this week reflecting on how to tell that story without getting, without drawing the ires of certain people.
Maybe we hold on to that one.
Yeah, we'll keep that in our back pocket for a real slow podcast. Yeah. I know this happening week. Let's talk about this. No. I was coming in from Texas.
I love how we tease all these good stories, and people just gonna have to wait till a lot of these stories. I guess we're waiting for the person involved to pass away.
Yeah, we got a lot of that, man. We got a lot of that.
We can't tell them until they're no longer on this earth.
No, I don't want that kind of heat anymore.
Oh.
So I was coming in from Texas. It was like 2000. Texas was 2012, I think, and because I spent about 8 months out in Texas. I'm coming home. It was like a 23 hour drive.
That's a long drive.
I used to make those drives.
I used to make from Fort Lauderdale to Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
With just quick food stops and pee breaks. It was a 24-hour straight shot.
Yeah. And I used to do it all the time, so it wasn't a big deal for me. So I'm halfway through the drive. I'm getting into Louisiana, and it's 6 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, man, I want food, but I want breakfast food, but I'm not going to McDonald's or anything like that. And I see Waffle House on the exit, and I'm like, well, fuck it, man, I haven't had Waffle House in forever, and I'll be all right. I'm not going to get anything crazy like a normal. Let's get waffles, eggs, and fucking bacon.
Let's preface it. I guess Waffle House or any of these types of places can trigger your Crohn's issue.
Yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is in South Florida. Maybe Waffle House is I have found most food outside of Florida to be just better for whatever reason, especially that time of my life. Because I remember I went to an Arby's in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and I was like, this is the greatest fucking roast beef sandwich I had in my life. And then the sweet tea and everything, I'm like, South Florida could never make this happen in their Arby's locations. I'm like, food must just be better outside of Florida.
You're just wackadoo.
Of course. But this was the rationalizations I had at the time. So
you're on drugs, man. Yeah, you're on drugs.
So, I was like, fuck it, man. I was like, let's go to Waffle House. I'm like, I need to eat something. And I've just been driving straight through. So I'm like, I need after a while, even during the day, vertigo can kind of fucking set in.
Yeah, so you need to get circulation in your legs.
Yeah. So I go to this wall. I get off. First off, the Waffle House ends up being like 4 miles off the exit.
That's the worst.
The fuck? It doesn't say it on the sign. I just keep driving, and I'm like,
did I pass it?
yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? And finally, I see.
Was it the other way? Yeah.
Yeah, I was so mad. I'm like, oh, it's gonna take forever to get back on the highway, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go in, and I just order I order something simple, man. I ordered my usual double order of hash browns.
Double order of hash browns.
With ham and cheese. Was that smothered and
chunked maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 pancakes, some bacon, and scrambled eggs.
You went to Waffle House and didn't get a waffle.
No, 2 waffles.
You said pancakes.
Oh, I'm sorry, not pancakes, waffles.
Son of a bitch.
2 waffles. I'm thinking,
right.
2 waffles, some bacon and eggs and shit.
Listen, I'm gonna catch you on your live.
And and I had an OJ and the thing. I sat down. It's like a half hour. It was a fantastic meal. Then I got the bubble guts, and I was like, I knew this was gonna happen. So
so are Waffle House bathrooms better than in Florida?
All things created equal, no, they're just about the same. It's all the level of, I can't wait. And I've already been in a car for fucking 12 hours, so I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't wait to shower anyway. So I'm sitting in there, and I'm just like, oh, this is. I'm debating. I'm like, I might just get a hotel room or something. But so and so the weird thing was, usually what happens when I get a Crohn's attack is I know I'm going full retard on whenever I'm eating, so I'm expecting it, and it's usually not that bad because I'm expecting it, so I'm stopping myself before I go crazy. So I go and I must have been 45 minutes taking a shit. I mean, it was bad. Like, it was just one of those. And I felt awful afterwards, but I'm like, you know what? No Crohn's attack. If this is the worst of it, this was a successful Waffle House experience. Plus, I'm cleaned out now, so I'm good for the next couple 100 miles. And you know me, I never stop to go to the bathroom.
Dude, okay. Perfect segue. We drive around in a truck all day long. I don't know. You must have like a little catheter and a pouch in your sock or something, because you never go to the bathroom. At me, every fucking like half an hour, I'm walking around the back of the van to piss in my big.
You fill up
my big
sriracha bottle.
I have a piss jug in the back of the van because it's just like, it's like, why am I gonna go hunt down a bath to take a piss or get caught pissing in a bush? Yeah. I have the 2 doors closed behind me, so it looks like I'm getting tools out of the back of the van, and I pee in my big sriracha jug.
And only once has someone like in the act been like tapped you on the shoulder.
We were at a job and we were killing, like, they're like, we can't shut the water off till like, I don't know, let's say 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we're there at 12:30, so we're just sitting in the parking lot chilling. Like, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the back of the van and I'm peeing in there, and all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like the devil just appears. Poof! There's a guy that starts talking to me while I'm still peeing.
And it's when I see the side mirror and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go save Ben.
And he's like talking to me, and he's like, yeah, you guys can start. And I go, all right, we'll be there in a minute. I'm still peeing.
And then he doesn't
And
leave.
the conversation's like done. He doesn't continue to say anything else, but he's just standing there, and I could see him through the crack of the truck in the truck door while I'm still pissing, and I see him, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally you pop out of the van, the truck, like, but I think you let me squirm for a second there, and then you engage in a conversation. Yeah. But I'm like I don't care.
He was just standing there.
I don't care, but I didn't want trouble with like, hey, your guy was pissing in our parking lot kind of thing.
So I leave the Waffle House. I get in my car. I'm driving my Impala at the time. I get in my car. I turn it on, and it just fucking hits me. Like, usually what a Crohn's attack is like I'll start to feel like my stomach tighten, and I'll start to feel a little bit of pain, and it's almost kind of like indigestion, I guess. It kind of just like a tinge more painful at the beginning, and then it gets like a full-on Crohn's attack. Feels like someone's kicking you in your stomach as hard as possible, and there's nothing you can do to block it. and you're just there's like you'll see me. Well, you won't anymore because I'm fucking. But if I ever have like really bad Crohn's attacks, the first thing I do is I get super quiet because the first thing that goes is like my tolerance for noise. Like I turn the radio off and like I'll put earplugs in because noise will just start rattling in my head, give me this huge migraine at the same. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And then I start trying to like stretch to find places where it doesn't hurt as bad. So I'm like contorting myself and like straightening out and doing all these crazy things, and it probably looks like I'm being fucking possessed or some shit. But it's just me trying to like. I found when I was younger, if I stretched enough, it kind of would help with some of the pain. So and it's very temporary. I would all kinds of crazy shit, bro. I was crying, like I was fucking crying. It was bad. Like I must have sat in that car for almost an hour before it hurt. Before it stopped hurting enough, so I could at least like put my seat all the way back, stretch out like a plank, and just kind of let the rest of the pain like subside. Like it was probably an hour and a half before I left that parking lot. It was in my adult life the worst Crohn's attack I'd ever got in my life. There was a moment like 45 minutes in where I'm like, I'm gonna have to call 911. Like I'm not gonna like this is bad. Like I had this bad. It used to be when I was younger, I would drink with my friends. When I was like 19, 20, everyone liked that Smirnoff Ice garbage. And
good old days.
And the acidity and that. I mean, like a Four Loko will probably kill me dead.
It's a malt liquor. I mean, I don't think
it's just the acidity that's in those poorly made drinks.
Hey,
stop. Hey. There's nothing high end or high class about a fucking Four Loko.
Oh, those just the cans alone are beautiful. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's artistry.
It's like suicide in a bottle for me.
Dude, I pinky out when I grab those things, and that's hard because they're heavy. You need your pinky.
Yeah. So when I started getting older and finding out like how my diet reflected how I felt, and I realized the acid in those drinks were so bad, I stopped drinking them and I stopped having really bad. Man, I used to have Crohn's attacks so bad I'd punch holes through walls. I used to have Crohn's attacks so bad like I'd fucking like rip up furniture because I needed it out. I can't describe the pain to somebody else. It just wouldn't understand unless you've been through it or have like a medical issue where it's kind of similar to that when you have those kind of release.
Okay, Bruce Banner.
So like I'm sitting in this car. I want to rip the steering wheel off. I was in that much pain. So yeah, I remember telling myself I was like 2012. I'm like never again. Like I could never do this again.
Waffle House.
I could never do Waffle House again. I
feel like we should.
I've never been to Waffle House since.
You should.
And the thing that scared me was I didn't eat anything crazy.
Well, maybe.
I'm just assuming that they never recycle the oil.
No, come on. Once every couple months.
Like
any other fast food restaurant? You think McDonald's you're gonna get fresh oil every day? They're once a week thing too. You can get listen.
Those
Depends
nuggies have never
how
hurt
dark
me.
your fries are over the course of the week is how old your oil is.
Yeah, well, bro, it was bad, man. It was bad. I don't know. I
kind of want to. We should go and at least do it for the TikTok.
In the hospital trip that's gonna follow that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have 2 TikToks.
Oh, this is good for our numbers.
I don't know.
Well, we've been lacking. We need another viral video. So I guess me.
We should. We owe it. It's funny. I was telling Jessica this yesterday. I said our TikTok. Yeah, it's like we got like almost 9,000 followers on it. I'm like, but ours is like very weird. Like all our big videos are like the plumbing stuff we do.
Yeah, no one cares about the other shit.
Like, so they're not like the Breakfast Club account really isn't Breakfast Club fans. They're like they're like old grizzled plumbers that want to criticize how you do shit. Yeah. So every time we have a popular video, it's us installing a.
Well, I don't want to see you guys out in the wild. I want to see you plumbing.
Yeah. So, yeah. I forgot what I was going to say, but so the our demographic on that is
so me squirming around like I want to have an alien burst through my chest should just about do it.
I mean, yeah, I think
is the Crohn's attack worth the TikTok?
There must be a Crohn's subsection of TikTok we could dive into.
Here's the worst part: is I don't have Crohn's as bad as a lot of people. So I don't really need people that are genuinely like really, really sick and like they've got like colostomy bags and like half their fucking throat's been fucking surgically removed, going just like shaming me for having any issues whatsoever. Oh, look at you, you're full body and full health.
Mr. Walking on his own.
Yeah. Unassisted. I don't want to be shamed like that, man.
I kind of want you to be shamed like that
because I'm not trying to like pinky out on the level of Crohn's. Like, oh, my Crohn's suck. Like, I don't want to like overprivilege myself on my Crohn's.
I think
but
you've already done that.
It's like my uncle has it worse than me. He's gone to the hospital and had several surgeries. I've known a lot of people that have been very, very sick with Crohn's. I'm very, very lucky. Now, will it be funny? Will we get a lot of hits? Yes, but I'm going to get shamed so bad. Why would I put myself through that? For your enjoyment?
Listen, you were a pro wrestler.
Oh.
There's no lower low. I mean,
I need a time machine.
Yeah.
Just stop at Cobra Commander. Call it a day.
You hear that fucking crying in there?
Oh, we've got Ben's roommate's dog. He's putting on a symphony out there.
He's crying.
I
shut the door because he's an asshole and
he is an asshole.
Doesn't socialize with me, but because you're here, he'll want to jump all over and whatever. So it's not. Let me say, I'm gonna walk over to the door and see.
Let's see how fast. Let's see how fast this is.
No, not you. Nobody wants to hear you do it.
Okay, Archer.
No, don't. No, now that I walked over here, we won't get him. You won't hear him whining.
Oh,
he'll stop. Probably because he hears me talking. All right, I guess that means that it's time to go.
Yeah, we're starting to listen in on put our ears on doors and shit. It's time for lunch and football.
Well, I also noticed that it stopped raining for 2 seconds.
Oh, you want to get that out of the way? Then.
We should dodge raindrops for a minute and let this dog take a shit. It's probably been 24 hours since he dropped one because, like I said before, it was raining at 4 a.m. when I took him out, and he wanted to pee on a tree and run back in, and I made him pee on another tree.
So is there going to be furlough files this week if AJ's not too good for you?
Oh yeah, Mr. Fucking World Travel. Oh, we're not done yet. Mr. Yeah, well, just call me at this time. I'll be like waiting for my flight. So I call. Honestly, though, I'll take half the fault on this one. We had an issue where every now and then your computer wants to do one of those major like installs when you turn it back on.
Would that happen during your?
No, not during. I opened the computer 10 minutes before I was going to call him. And it's like, don't turn the computer off. Doing install.
We're downloading the Constitution. You're like, what?
It was installing stuff that it already downloaded. 45 minutes later, it was at 20%. So I'm like, well, this sucks. And then then I called him just to tell him that. He's like, oh, I couldn't do it now anyways. And I could hear like the airport, the lady announcing flights and stuff, and he's like, call me after I land and we'll do it then, and I was like, well, you call me when you're ready. And then he messages me like 11:15 and goes, you want to do it now? And I go, well, I mean, we do it now. I'm editing till like 1 a.m. and then I got to upload it. It's like, how about we just call this a travel day?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. when I got to be up at 6.
That's a big negative.
For your dumb furlough files episode.
Oh, it's not dumb.
I'm
sure a lot of information.
I'm just being bitter. Out. Yeah. Well, the point is that we'll have a lot more to talk about now that he's been to Philly and Delaware and New York.
Oh, a lot of food.
And stories of his kids' basketball camp and shit like that.
Oh, that's right. AJ loves his kids.
Yeah, he does. He actually takes care. He's he did. I'll leave it with this. I'm talking to him. He's like, yeah, Nick's in there. Their game isn't until like 1. I'm thinking of going to like because like he has to stay there all day, even though his game is to 1. Yeah. But the parents aren't allowed in except when their kid is playing. It was some weird thing. So he's like, I don't know what to do all day. I go, you're like fucking 20 minutes from the Rockies steps. Yeah. Go leave Delaware, go to Philly, go fucking...
He ain't walking up any steps.
Go run the steps and go fucking take a picture of the statue and do all that touristy shit. Go get some fucking cheesesteaks from Pat's and Gino's. And he's like, yeah. He goes, you think Nick's going to be mad if I'm not there at his game? I go, I go, if Nick's mad that you're not there at the game, even though you just bought him a fucking plane flight here, came with him, and paid for the camp and everything, then Nick can go fuck himself.
Nick is just going to assume you're eating something somewhere.
He's used to dad, at some point fucking off and doing dad stuff. He's not, if he's, first of all, if the kid cares that you're watching, the kid's soft. Like, I wouldn't get, when I was in high school, I wouldn't have given a shit if my parents were there to watch me play. Two, the fact that he paid for all of it and brought him up there is enough. If he takes exception, then Nick's really got to toughen up and shut the fuck up.
I hope he stood in the stands eating a Geno sub, a cheesesteak as Nick's playing the game.
Well, the funny thing would have been like if like he got stuck there and they like for some reason let Nick out early and Nick's waiting around for 2 hours on him and he comes back, he's like, well, I brought you a
cheesesteak.
Right.
Oh shit! All right, maybe this week will be a little drier. I'm tired of how wet it is outside.
Yeah, it said no one ever. All right.
Okay, bye.